The NFL Draft has come and gone, and I am B-Ron, back again here on WPOE, going to give you all of the news surrounding the draft, which means going over the Ravens' picks around the league, and I have a treat as well for later on in this week's show. We got a insider report from my man Sap on the draft class from the Ravens this year. He was kind enough to give me his thoughts on the class, and I will get to those later on in the episode. But for now, let's go through the picks for the 2020 NFL Draft for our Baltimore Ravens. Starting with the first pick at number 31 for the Ravens, they selected Adam Ritter, the left tackle from Florida. He is going to come in and maybe start on the line right away somewhere. Don't know where yet, but somewhere on the line. There's talk of guard, maybe moving inside to start at guard. Just don't know yet, but I'm really excited to get this guy in here and seeing what he can do, because I think he's going to be a big boost to our offensive line on day one. On to round two, where the Ravens went left outside linebacker Patrick Smith from Syracuse. Probably not the guy they wanted to go with here, but they saw something in his talent. His combine score really impressed him. Had a 7 on the combine, so a very athletic guy. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do here as well. When it came to round 3, though, the Ravens decided to trade their pick to Tampa Bay to move down, and they took Tampa Bay's 4th round spot in the draft. So they lost their round 3 pick, but got a round 4 pick instead because they didn't have one of those. A.J. Marabli, another outside linebacker. Marabli comes from Arkansas Pine Bluff. Small school, but Marabli was one of their favorite guys on their board this whole year. So I'm really glad to see him come in, and he might be moving positions as well. He might move to the opposite side, to right outside linebacker, and he might be competing with Tim Williams for the starting job at that position. We'll have to see what they decide to do. In the 5th round, the Ravens select Ryan Schroder, wide receiver from Oregon. Big guy, fast guy too, but not really sure about much else as far as what he can do on the field. We'll have to see what kind of role they have for him in the preseason, and maybe he can show something off. Let's go take a look here, though, around the league at some of the other teams and their picks as well. This is always a fun time to see what kind of moves the other teams decide to make and where their big future picks are going to be. Starting with number 1, the first overall pick in the draft was the Heisman Trophy winner for this season, quarterback Demetrius Maddox from Georgia. He goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that's a good spot for him to be at. When you can get the number 1 guy in the draft, especially the guy who won the Heisman last year, you think you're getting a pretty good player, and I think that Maddox is going to be a pretty good player in the league. Actually, the number 2 pick, Nathan Russell, another quarterback from Oklahoma, goes to the Denver Broncos at the number 2 spot. He had 35 touchdowns to 8 interceptions at Oklahoma. So he's really good at taking care of the ball, and he's very efficient at getting touchdowns too, throwing, like I said, 35 touchdowns. It's no laughing matter here when it comes to the college ranks, and even at the pro level too. So I'm excited to see what he can do as well in Denver. They have a plan there too, I'm sure. They probably thought, with Drew Lock being the next guy up, they wanted to address the position, and maybe Russell will be the answer, and maybe he'll be the better player than Maddox, because even though Russell didn't get the coverage that Maddox did, right outside linebacker Atreyu Kelly from Connecticut. Kelly finished in 2nd place in the Butkus Award voting this year with 121 tackles, 12 sacks, and 1 interception. You don't finish in 2nd place in any award category and not be taken somewhat seriously, in my opinion. So I think that Kelly is going to be a fine player for the Falcons. We'll have to see, though, how it all plays out. We'll have no idea. Jaquill Easter from SMU. He was the Jim Thorpe and Bednarik Award winner this year. So, very decorated player coming out of college with those two big defensive awards. And with those two awards in tow, he's looking to bring those skills that he has to the NFL level. And it's going to be fun to see what he can do. And him and Upshaw are going to be the two guys at the safety position that I'm going to be watching this year as far as seeing how they play. Maybe there'll be a battle there for Rookie of the Year. Maybe, Easter will have the edge there and get 3 awards, the Thorpe, the Bednarik, and the Rookie of the Year award for defense. We'll see. The number 13 pick was wide receiver Jamal Burgess from Central Michigan. He ended up going to the Redskins. He'll be catching balls from Dwayne Haskins. That's going to be fun to see. The Biletnikoff Award winner, he also led the nation in touchdowns with 19. Being on the number 7 team in the nation, they're a really talented team, the Chippewas, so it's going to be fun to see what Burgess can do this level as well. We covered him earlier in the year, spoke about him earlier. Really good at catching the ball and as wide receiver. If you're not doing that, there's something wrong. And finally, the number 20 pick that I'm going to cover for the New York Jets. They selected center Matt Rugg from LSU. He was the Remington Award winner this year. And I covered him and his brother story, earlier in the year. And I'm so happy to see him get selected. It's also going to be fun, though, to see what kind of year he has and see where his brother goes next year when he is draft eligible or decides to come out. It's going to be fun. And maybe we'll see them on the same team. That'd be kind of cool to see them both be on the same team at some point in the future. Maybe not right away. Maybe right away. We'll see. I don't know. It'll be really fun, though, to see how it all plays out, though. As I said earlier, I have the draft grades from my good buddy Sap. He was kind enough to he was watching the draft and he said, "Hey, B-Ron, I have my own thoughts about the draft and I want to give them to you so that way you can give it to the fans." And I said, "You know what, Sap? I like that idea. Let's hear from you and let's see what you got." He's definitely one of the guys that I trust, and he has a good knowledge about these players. He does a lot of scouting for me and giving me some of the insider information that I have. So, Sap, thank you for this. I appreciate you so much, my friend. Let's get into what Sap thought about the players this year that the Ravens took. Starting with the left tackle, Adam Ritter. Baltimore surprised many by taking Ritter over Liam Shelgater at the end of the first round. It's safe to say that they did their homework here because he seems to be a perfect fit. Reports from the team are that Ritter will be ready to move from tackle to guard and more likely will start from day one. That is the rumor going around right now regarding Ritter, is that even though they've drafted him at left tackle, they already have Ronnie Stanley at left tackle. And they have Leonard Brown at right tackle. So it makes sense to move him inside to one of the guard positions, maybe center. So they're probably going to start him at guard, though, because that's one of their weakest points at guard. Whether it's left guard or right guard, not sure where they're going to start him at. But he's definitely going to be moving inside. That's the rumor right now. So moving inside to play one of the guard spots from day one. And Ritter got graded at an A. Next up is Patrick Smith. Smith is a guy that had a lot of people fall in love with his ability to get to the quarterback. Two things, though. Smith really benefited from playing alongside sophomore Milton Hines, who was second in the nation in tackles. Smith also had some injury problems that make me wonder if he will be able to get back to the form that he was a year ago. I think he can be a decent backup, but in the second round, you want more than that. And Sapp gave Smith's pick a C-. And I'd actually agree with Sapp here in this regard. You want somebody, your first 2 picks, I think, should definitely be guys who are going to be impact guys right away. And I don't know if Smith is going to be that guy for the Ravens. We'll see how it all plays out, though. There's still plenty of time, and things can change. So who knows? Maybe he can fight through, and maybe the injury problems won't be a big deal. And maybe he'll be able to find a spot on as a backup. or maybe even develop into a decent player in the league. Pick in the draft for the Ravens was J.J. Marabli, and here are Sap's thoughts on him. As from these little schools, again, J.J. attended Arkansas Pine Bluff. They tend to fall between the cracks at times. Marabli may have been listed on the big board as a projected 6th rounder, but the combine shows that he was one of, if not the most athletic guys at the position. He hasn't been tested against the highest caliber prospects, but it's clear that he is ready for the league. I think that going to a franchise like the Ravens is a perfect situation for him, and I believe he has the opportunity to potentially be an impact player for them. That's some great value for a guy drafted in the 4th. And again, and Marabli's grade from Sap is an A. So once again here, I will agree with Sap in this regard. I think Marabli is the guy that they probably should have picked in the 2nd round over Patrick Smith. If you go back and do it again, I'm sure they would have picked Marabli in the 2nd round versus Smith, but it is what it is. I gotta deal with it now. Marabli can come in and show that he's ready to play from day one. Maybe he can be a starter from day one, and that will be a big help for the Ravens as far as their linebacking core goes. Next pick is wide receiver Ryan Schroder. Although the big board had him going in the 5th, his decline throughout the year and disappointment at the combine led me to drop this guy into potential undrafted territory. He may have good size and showed some promise at Oregon, but I'm just not sure that he worked hard enough to improve. In high school and sometimes college, you can get by on God-given talent, but when you're in a league where everyone has talent, dedication and discipline comes into play. I have a hard time believing that this pick will amount to anything but a wasted roster slot. Maybe he will prove me wrong, but until then, and Schroder's grade from SAP is a D-. On to Malik Gibson now. I don't like this pick for a couple of reasons, but let's not go there yet. For starters, he is a good tackler with a good motor, and he is a good locker room guy. Now, with that being said, I feel like the Ravens were trying to rack up on guys at one position and just hope that at least one of them work out. Not only does Gibson lack the skill that Marabli and Smith have in several different areas, but the fact that he was the 3rd outside linebacker drafted for Baltimore means it makes even less likely that he'll be able to find a spot on the field or even the roster. I'll be shocked if his ceiling is anything more than a practice squad guy. And that's disappointing to hear, and Gibson's grade is a D- from SAP as well. So that's just his grades on each of the individual players. His overall draft grade, however, is as follows. Although I gave the 5th and 6th round picks low grades, I can't allow those to hold much weight because the first few rounds are the most important. Since 2 of the first 3 picks were very good in my eyes, I will give the Ravens a draft grade of a B-. I don't think that's a fair spot to put us at. There were definitely some head scratches there looking back on things, and I'm sure, like I said earlier, if they could go back and do things differently, they definitely would, pick Marabli in the 2nd, or maybe wait for him in the 3rd or 4th round and take other areas of need to improve upon, in that with the 2nd round pick. But they did what they thought was right in the moment, and there's plenty of time for things to pan out. We don't know how things are gonna go yet. That's the beauty of it all, though, really, right? As I said. And yeah, guys, that is going to do it. Preseason will be right around the corner, though, so stay tuned here on WPOE, the place to be for all things Ravens. Preseason is coming up, and I will be here to give you all of the news regarding the games and how they're going, as well as players who impressed me and all the other business. So, stay tuned. Alright, you guys, that's going to do it for me for this video. Thank you all so much for listening and watching and that kind of stuff. Draft was rough. Not gonna lie to y'all. Draft was real rough. I've never been the best at drafting players, but I still enjoy going through the whole team building process and that sort of stuff. It's always fun for me to get new players in, see what they can do, and that business. So the preseason videos will be broken up into 2 parts. And it'll be a double upload as well. So we'll have part 1 will be games 1 and 2, and part 2 will be games 3 and 4, and I'll give a recap of those games, things I liked, things I didn't like, that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll go from there. and we'll start regular season with the video after that one. So it's just a heads up of where things are going for the next couple of videos. Wow, just long. I'm sorry. But again, thank y'all for watching, listening. I appreciate it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, you know what to do. Keep on shining and keep on grinding. I will see you all in the next one.